What's going on, everyone? Good afternoon. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, your favourite football fan channel made in Manchester. And welcome to another episode of Coronation Street. Hayley Cropper is going mad. Hayley Cropper being John Murtaugh. There's stuff going on at United yet again. Apparently 4 players were involved in a verbal scuff after the Brighton game on Saturday. We're going to discuss that. The United hierarchy are concerned with the influence of Ten Hag's agency on transfers. The Champions League is back. Harry Kane's been talking. There's a couple of injury updates, some positive news regarding that game. And also, we've had a Bloomberg journalist, David Hellier, I think his name is, Fabrizio Romano, and Ben Jacobs, all on the same podcast talking about the Takeover. So there was quotes that initially came out from that, which I discussed yesterday, but I actually listened to the full podcast, and there was a few more bits on it that I want to dive into. So as always, please do get your comments in. I'll read them out. Get a like, smash a like on the video, sorry, and subscribe to the channel. We're going to start off with this United players fighting story that came out from The Sun, I believe it was. So yes, I understand it's The Sun. People don't really like The Sun. I get it. But sometimes they're credible. Neil Custis, or Neil Custard, as we like to call him on this channel, seems to get a few things right, at least. Let's just say that. So the news that came out, and there was like a period last night, just before I dive into the story, there was a period for about 2 hours where just relentless news coming out about Manchester United, most of it being negative, to be honest with you. So it was just a really weird period. So obviously it was like 11 o'clock, so you're like, well, I don't really want to go live at 11, so I'll just wait until the news show and see but we've got that much stuff to kind of compact in, plus content as well. By the amount of content we have is unbelievable. So you've got the news show now. You've got the preview at 5 o'clock. You've got a members video dropping with Jadon Sancho from the streets to the Stretford end. You've got the UCL Champions League Young Stars, basically scouting who to keep an eye on in this campaign. You've got the second members video about the reactions to tweets from Goldbridge and Neville and these kind of things. Loads and loads of content. You literally can't even pack it in. So we're just trying to figure out what's going to go. I think the preview today should be about 5 o'clock. So keep an eye out for that. And then the rest of the stuff we'll just have to kind of figure out in some kind of timeline or whatever. But anyway, United players fighting. 4 Manchester United players were involved in a furious argument following the 3-1 loss against Brighton. Bruno Fernandes confronted Scott Mctominay, while Lisandro Martinez and Victor Lindelof also lost it with each other after the fixtures. The recent reports United are coming out and denying this, but that's what they would do. I mean, they're not going to come out and say, yeah, actually, they had a fight and these guys were punching each other. They're not going to say that. So I don't think it was any kind of physical altercations. I think it was more of a verbal warfare. But like Keno says, is anyone even asked about that? You know, smash into someone, tackle them, show to their teammate. You know what I mean? Like, just do something. I want to see that. The thing is, if I was Scott McTominay and Bruno Fernandes was shouting at me after that game, first and foremost, McTominay was dung that game. I'm not saying he wasn't, but if I was Scott McTominay after that game and Bruno Fernandes was giving me shit, I'd be like, mate, you were fucking equally as poor. You were absolutely pants, mate. You've only been good in 1 game this season, and that was a Nottingham Forest one. Apart from that, you've been pretty below standard. So I don't know how you're moaning at me, because you was shit as well. As for Lindelof and Lisandro kind of going at it, that's a more one-sided scrap than Deji and Mayweather in it. I mean, come on, Lisandro and Lindelof. Lisandro's an absolute pit bull and a terrier. And I actually put a poll up at the start of the show. Obviously, only half joking, saying Bruno versus Scott, who wins? But Lisandro versus Lindelof, do you know what I'm saying? It's going down there, isn't it? So apparently they was all fighting. It is what it is. Players fight after a game. Dressing room can get intense. People speak the mind. They're angry. They're frustrated. They just lost to Brighton. So I'd rather that than a bunch of players sat in a dressing room, quiet as fuck, just like not even, not contradicting, not even criticizing the players around him. I expect that of the players. So if they've had a bit of a back and forth argument, I'm not asked. I'm not bothered about that. It's fine. But obviously the Sun are going to make it out to look like it was basically someone's wrapped a pipe around someone's fucking head. In which case, if you wrapped a pipe around Maguire's head, he'd probably break the pipe, wouldn't it? So, yeah, I don't want to discuss that for too long because it's not. I think the Sun were milking it for more than what it was. But apparently, the players have had a row. Now, the other bit of news that came out last night was coming from, in regards to the transfer market. So, Keysvoss Sport Entertainment Group have become the go-to agency in negotiating player signings and sales for Manchester United, as well as providing informal advice on the transfer market. Ten Hag's son, Nigel, Nice name. I don't know who looks at a baby, by the way, and thinks Nigel. Bit of a strange one. Sorry if there's any Nigels in the chat. But yeah, I don't know who looks at a baby and goes, defo a Nigel, that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I don't understand. Anyway, apparently concerns have been raised within Manchester United over the increasing involvement of Erik ten Hag's agent, Keith Voss, in the club's transfer activity. Similar agent, the same agent, sorry, has players like Haaland. No, I said Haaland. That's like saying, I'm all over the place today. It's like saying Haaland in Yorkshire, isn't it? Haaland. We've got Haaland up top. Rasmus Haaland. Haaland, Kakpo, and Daley Blind are a part of that agency. Now, the question is, should Ten Hag be scouting his own players? No. Should he have an elite sporting director above him? Yes. Rangnick probably should have stayed. I think I don't know if there was a disagreement between Ten Hag and Rangnick, but it just didn't work out. Or maybe John Murta didn't want to give his job up. That was probably more the truth. But should he have an elite sporting director above him? Absolutely. Does the last 10 years show why Manchester United shouldn't recruit players? So what do? I'd rather Ten Hag be buying the players now and bringing in this agency than Murtaugh and fucking Richard Arnold travelling to Turin to try and get Rabiot and come back with a pair of dirty kecks in the suitcase. Or fly to Barcelona 5 times to try and get Frankie de Jong and not get it over the line. So I have no issue with this, to be honest. I also think it's not a coincidence a story like this comes out after Gary Neville's comments about recruitment. All United are doing at the moment is just media manipulation. That's all it is. Like, they are trying to make themselves look so good in the public eye, but everybody knows you're a failure. Everybody knows you're shit at the minute. So no matter how much spin you put out in the world, United fans aren't thick now. I'd like to think people in the chat, people on TikTok, even myself, aren't thick enough to believe these kind of stories. And it's more stuff as well that I want to talk about. But some of the bullshit, the media know exactly what they're doing, so don't fall for the bullshit like that. Romano tweeted some stuff last night about about Erik ten Hag, and again, this is kind of in reaction to the stuff that was coming out about the transfers and stuff. He said the feeling among people close to the club is that Erik ten Hag is not the problem. Extra sporting matters, injuries, and the sales process are what pose problems for the day-to-day work. Ten Hag has a very good relationship with the Manchester United squad. He's taking care of the players the best way possible. He remains 100% committed to the project. He believes they have been unlucky, and the club are completely backing him in his process. The Manchester United takeover uncertainty is creating an issue for the Manchester United squad. And look, honestly, if you used to ask any manager on the planet now, Premier League, Liga 1, Serie A, La Liga, any top club in the world, and you ask them, would these issues affect you, the ones that are going on at Manchester United, they would say 100%. If you ask them in the media, they'd say no, because they have to kind of put something out there. But behind closed doors, I reckon Ten Hag is going absolutely mad. The Glazers, first and foremost, need to go before anybody else leaves, before you want to get a new manager in, or even people at the board level, the Glazers need to go. Then when new people come in, like Sheikh Jassim or whoever it is, they can assess board level, look at the bad decisions that they made over the past few years, and then, make the correct decision, then maybe bring some people in, whatever. But the Glazers at the top need to go. We all know this. The ongoing issues all stem from the top. And it's just allowing the pressure to build while she's sat in an American office, just watching it unfold is just like completely baffling to me. Never cared about the club in the life. I really, really hope one day I get to pop that champagne outside Old Trafford to say that the Glazers have gone. Because this is just getting ridiculous now. It's just drama after drama after drama. We are literally a Hollyoaks omnibus. Just days and weeks and months worth of absolute shite consistently. So annoying. Anyway, I'll dive into Harry Kane's quotes to Champions League and players that are back for that as well, because there's some positive news regarding that. But let's read out everyone's comments. Absolute legends in the chat. Neil Discroll says, hey, everyone. Neil, quick fact. Did you know your second name is the exact same as the new doctor that we've just signed from Arsenal? Are you related? If so, contact me. Dan Harrington says, hello. STP Mitchell says, yo, everyone. Hope everyone has an amazing day. Glazers out. Musiala Mugrarab says, Mount Varane trained in Carrington. I'm going to touch on that shortly. Shah Sam says, we will never have a day go without drama in Manchester United. If Xavi Simons stayed at PSG, United was close to signing Xavi Simons. I saw that coming out from Romano, didn't I? Sam is in the chat saying as well, was quiet while I was on holiday. Yeah, nothing massive happened. No, didn't miss much, Sam. Didn't miss much at all, mate. Dave's in the chat as well. What a legend. Absolute legend. We're poor at signing players and selling them too. Agreed. And UTFR says, good afternoon as well. What we're seeing in the TikTok, I'll read out some comments. Glazers need to go, but does that not affect the team's performance, the money that has been spent? I've replied to so many of them comments. I'm losing the will to live at the minute. If you know, you know. Do your research. That's all I'm going to say. Someone like Van der Sar, who's doing a job at Ajax, would definitely help us. Someone like him, absolutely. Someone like a Paul Mitchell. Even Michael Edwards, is he the ex-sporting director at Liverpool? I think he was. Obviously, it's Liverpool, so it's one of them. But it's not like a player, is it? Someone like one of them would be a good choice. I would love Ralf Rangnick to stay. Really, really would have done. But unfortunately, he's now managing Austria and actually doing a relatively good job, to be fair. Horrendous recruitment and paid through nose on all. I don't know what that means. Imagine owners spending 600 million yet to blame them for awful management. People really need to educate themselves. Dave, maybe a manager with a decent track record would be good. Can't see them getting rid of Erik ten Hag. I swear TikTok just lets Liverpool fans and City fans and Arsenal fans know when I'm live so they can jump on the live and try to give a shit about United. I swear it's in the algorithm or something. Van der Sar's recovering from a stroke. He's not doing anything for a while. Oh, yeah, I actually completely forgot about that. Yeah, so get well soon, Van der Sar. Thank God he's on the mend rather than the opposite way, innit? Get some of my coffee. Who's excited for the Champions League, by the way? It's back today. The champions! Do, 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 do. Absolutely buzzing. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that on there. Oh, you can. Of course you can. Here it is. It's back. It's back tonight. Can't wait. Get your Super Sixes in. I've done my Super Six today, actually. What did I go for? City to beat... It's Belgrade they're playing. 4-0. United to draw with Bayern Munich 1-1. I'm trying to remember the other games. Sociedad and Inter, I think 1-1 as well. What other games are on tonight? Dortmund and PSG. I've got PSG to beat them 2-1. There's another one I'm missing. Newcastle on tonight. I feel like Newcastle. Milan versus Newcastle. That's an interesting one, isn't it? Didn't Milan just get absolutely dicked off Inter Milan in the derby? So they're a little bit fragile at the minute. Newcastle had the best starts of the game. So I don't know. That's a bit of a weird one, that. I think Milan and Newcastle... Oh, it's so hard to predict that. I'd probably say Milan just edges it 2-1 or something, I'd say. Porto Shakhtar. Are they today? Are they? Porto Shakhtar, I think it's going to be a good game as well. But I think Porto probably just edged that. So, yeah, Super Six. Done me Super Six. Obviously, really excited for the Champions League tonight. Can't wait to be watching that. Me and Shreyas did a video yesterday. We pre-recorded it about breakout stars in the Champions League. Some youngsters that are really, really talented. And that'll be showcasing their abilities and who we think is going to rise to the top. That was supposed to be dropping today, but because the amount of content we got dropping, there's literally not a time slot for it. So we're going to drop it tomorrow instead, before some of the big games as well. So yeah, that'll be dropping tomorrow. Harry Kane has been speaking about Manchester United. He says we have to be prepared for United, and of course we want to get the crowd behind us as early as possible on Wednesday in front of our home crowd and approach the game with a lot of intensity. I know United are having a difficult moment, but sometimes teams like that are dangerous because they're always looking to come back in a big way. I was looking at Bayern Munich's record, and I'm saving it a little bit for the Bayern preview, which is at 5 o'clock. A lot of fan channels seem to do previews like 2 days before. I don't understand it. I'd rather do it when I know the full team news, because they're all doing their team predictions and they've not got Mount or Bruno in it and they're fit and available for this game. So I'd rather wait for the day before and get the most realistic kind of preview for you. So the Bayern Munich preview will be at 5 o'clock. There'll be a couple of lads on that. Sam is back, I believe, for that one. He's been on holiday for 9 days, chilling it in Crete. So yeah, we'll have a couple of lads discussing the game. But look, I was looking at the record before. They've won 3, drew 1 at the start of the season. Harry Kane has already scored 4 goals. So we know it's going to be a tough game. The question I wanted to ask, and this is a bit of a curveball, how would have our season gone if we had brought in Harry Kane instead of Rasmus Højlund? Would it have been any different? Would we have finished certain chances? Obviously, we would have had him from the start of the season. So that would have made a difference because we didn't have Rasmus from the start. Rasmus only played 90 minutes. Or would it have gone the same way, do we think? I think you look at some of the chances that we missed or the lack of composure in the final third, maybe things would have been different. And that's not a knock on Højlund. Like I said, he's only playing 90 minutes, so he's hardly had a chance to impact this team. But maybe it would have been. I don't know. Just a question I wanted to throw out there. RB29567 says, definitely. United Pedder says it would have gone the same way, in my opinion. Are you enjoying the Manchester United? Not in a minute, mate. No, not in a minute. UTFR says, Forza Milan. Yeah, I hope Milan do the job. I think that's going to be... That group, by the way, there's so many good games in that. Dortmund, PSG, Milan and Newcastle. What a group. I love Champions League football. Absolutely love it. Mainu on grass trained, huge boost. Yeah, I'll dive into that. So Amrabat is training separately from the squad. Kobe Mainu is in light training, as you were, so probably another week or so to go. Amrabat may be available for the Burnley game. I don't think he's not going to be available for this game. But Raphael Varane and Mason Mount are available for this game. Varane, a huge boost into that back line, especially if Lindelof and Alessandro have been barking at each other. We need Varane in that back line because the start of the season, he was one of our better players alongside with Wan-Bissaka and Andre Onana. So Varane back in there, huge experience, great, won multiple Champions Leagues. So fantastic to have him in that back line. And then Mason Mount as well. People will go, Mason Mount was shit or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Has our midfield been any better since he's gone out of it? If anything, it's been fucking worse. So I'm not having that nonsense. And to be honest, I would probably drop Bruno Fernandes and play Mount the way Bruno's playing at the minute. Bruno needs dropping. He needs leveling out a little bit just to let him know that he can be dropped in his position. Because I feel like it was a similar mentality under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer where they just said, yeah, you'll continue to play no matter what. No matter how bad your form is, you will always play. Like, I think at one point he should be at least dropped. Maybe not in a big game like this, but I think he should. And people might disagree with that, and that's absolutely fine. But it is what it is. Regardless, it's great news that Varane and Mount are back. So really, really happy with that. Sean's in the chat all the way from, is it Bangladesh? Not Bangladesh, Bangkok, innit? Yeah. Bruno would strangle McTominay with the captain's armband. I can actually imagine that as well behind him, like really pulling it. Mustafa McGrab says the same. Okay. I think that's in relation to the Harry Kane question. Dan Errington says definitely things would have been different. STP Mitchell, group of death, as they say. Yes, sir. UTFR, we best saviour. What? We best save you the Champions League, as I'm not sure we're going to be in it for long. Right, I'm with you. Yeah. I don't know. I made a bold ass prediction at the start in the big season prediction and said we'd win the Champions League, but obviously we haven't started off great. I just thought with the type of transitional football we was going for and the players that we had at our disposal in big away games, especially bring Amrabat into that midfield, we can hurt teams. That was the method I was going for. But the way we started the season, I mean, Spurs dicked us. Forest scored 2 goals very, very quickly against us. And then, yeah, the other games, I don't even need to explain. Brighton absolutely toyed with us. So, obviously, I'm not of the opinion now that we will probably win the Champions League, but I don't know. Depends. Depends what happens. Anything can happen in football. If Spurs got to a final, I think we can get to a final. Do you know what I mean? So that's what it is. It is what it is, yeah. Like I said, the preview will be at 5 o'clock later, so make sure you tune in for that because we'll actually be discussing the game in depth. We'll have the quick fire questions. We'll have some warm-up questions as well, a bit of trivia in regards to Manchester United and Bayern Munich. A lot of history, obviously, between the clubs, and then we'll have score predictions, team lineups, all that kind of jazz. So make sure you do tune in for that. I won't be live on TikTok for that one, so if you want to jump on the YouTube and subscribe to the channel, I think we are 36 of 3,400 subs. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please just click that button. I know sometimes people, especially on TikTok, like, I can't be asked going off this to go over. That's absolutely fine. But if you ever have time to check us out, then please do. The last bit of news we'll discuss. So Takeover, Manchester United Takeover. There was a quote yesterday that only a few aggregator accounts had put out. And it was from the business journalist, Bloomberg journalist, David Hellier. And the quote was, I was told that not much will happen in the process in August and September, but it's believed that the process will progress within the next few weeks. My feeling is that Sheikh Jassim will succeed in taking over the club in the end. So that was the quote that everyone was kind of looking at. But I had a look where this quote came from. And there was actually a podcast that had Ben Jacobs, David Hellier, and Fabrizio Romano, who kind of tuned in. I think it was on the phone or something. So for like a half an hour. So it weren't just that one quote. There was quite a lot of quotes coming out for it that I thought was interesting. So I'll just read them out and then I'll get your reaction to it. So the Rain Group persuaded the Glazers that they could easily get £6 billion from Manchester United, and there would be a stream of bidders, but it hasn't quite turned out like that. So obviously the Rain Group have looked at the landscape, looked at the Chelsea sale, and they're like, yeah, we'll get you £6 billion easy. And it got to the point where Qatar have put in the highest offer, just over $5 billion. And they're kind of scratching their heads and they're like, I don't know what to do now. So Rain Jobs Group is to create competitive tension to raise the price. So a lot of these stories and manipulation that you've seen in the media are being put out there specifically to drive the price up. That's why you're seeing so many conflicting reports. Like, I think Mike Keegan came out with one saying the Glazers will be on to August. Daily Mail reporting that they're staying now. Other ones saying Qatar exclusivity. All these kind of stuff. It's all being manipulated from the top to drive the bidders against each other. The length of time it's taking isn't extraordinary. So they're talking about, is 9 months too long for a takeover? Usually, he said isn't extraordinary, but it's getting to a point now where United need to be sold. Basically, it's almost like we've got a VAR decision, and they've been taking a look at it 6 or 7 times. And I think that was a great analogy to explain this takeover process. Like, we got to the 90th minute in like March or June, extra time in July, and then you've got a VAR decision. They've been reviewing it 6 or 7 times to make sure. And there'll probably be another 3, 4, 5, 7 times that they're looking at it until they get that £6 billion. Ratcliffe is restricted by the number of shareholders threatening to sue due to the deal that he wants to make. So that deal looks a little bit, that's why that's stalling. And then Qatar ain't budging on the bid. But the one thing they did say was Qatar usually get what they want, and maybe there will be another bid from Qatar to push it over the line. That's what was being said. But like I said, it's a classic. Again, what I was alluding to before, it's a classic case of media manipulation. It's so obvious when you've been following this club for a certain amount of time, and you see the stuff coming out from Romano after all the negativity that's being put out there. They know United fans are emotive, they're angry. What could you possibly do to change that situation? You give them a little something about the takeover, which you know they'll grab onto, because we want this so bad. We want the Glazers gone so bad. They know they can feed that out there, and a lot of people will latch onto it. I can't be manipulated anymore. I'm sure a lot of the people behind the camera can't be manipulated anymore, equally to the people in the TikTok. So they can continue to do this, but we know their game. We know what they're doing. We're not stupid anymore. I'd probably expect something to break after the Bayern Munich game. If we lose to Bayern Munich, expect something to come out about the takeover there as well, because they are pulling them strings from the top and feeding out stuff that they want out there. Because, of course, the rest of the guys were all signed NDAs and stuff. You know what I mean? So, yeah, loads of stuff going on with United. I mean, it's crazy how much news is breaking and stuff. Only this club, honestly. Glazers, Sim and Ratcliffe are required to be silent during the NYSC acquisition. All news is total BS. Also, they got asked about David Hellier in particular, and the Bloomberg financial journalist got asked about the stock market and if people can read too much into it. And he was like, the stock market's a bit of a minefield. People are reacting to it, but it doesn't necessarily tell the whole truth. So it's a bit of, you can't look too much into the stock markets, because obviously it's at $19 now. The last time I checked, last month it was at like $23. When that kid from fucking Wales with a bit of the mad account tweeted Qatar paper that they had won, or they'd something like that, it went up to like $25, I think. So it can be manipulated. Even when Rio made that announcement at the train station, by the way, what's happened to that? Qatar have won, apparently. When he made that announcement at the train station, the stock price went up. So it can be manipulated. I won't look too much into that, but hopefully August and September have passed now. We're getting into October when, ironically, Neil Custard, or Neil Custis, as other people might know him, put out that the club would be sold to Qatar. Let's see. We're moving into October shortly. We're on the 19th of September now. We've got 11, 12 days before we head into that. So, look, it might happen. We might be here till Christmas. We might be here till next year discussing the takeover. Jay says the Glazers are a cancer to United, which need to be eradicated. Tactic says, yes, you can. If you break New York Stock Exchange rules, you lose your license. It's insider manipulation and it's illegal, says Tactic. Well, thank you very much for that. I'm just going off the quotes that the Bloomberg journalist that was listening to last night, what he was saying. It was a bit of a minefield with the stock market. Subscribe if you're new here, says Sam. Absolutely. Please do that if you can. UTFR says it'll happen all in good time. The Glazers are finished and greed will be their downfall. Well, like I said, I will be outside Old Trafford with a big bottle of champagne when that news gets announced, spraying it everywhere and just in absolute joy that 18 years of these shit owners is over. One can only hope for that moment. One can only hope. Let's see if it's soon. Right, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Obviously, like I said, we've got loads of stuff coming up. Join us for the preview, please, at 5 o'clock. Talk to us, give us your team predictions, score predictions, all that kind of stuff. And obviously, we've got football back tonight, Champions League. Very excited for it. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll speak to you lot in the next one. Peace.